We are going to start off today with a card using some DSP, of course, because it's on sale, so why wouldn't we use it? So I decided to use the Plentiful Plants stamp set along with the, what are these dies called? Perfect Plants dies. And here we go. So I've got some cardstock here. I've got a piece of cinnamon cider that is 4 1/4 by 11. And then I folded it in half and then I folded it inside of itself. So it was long, I folded it in half and then I folded it in. So there we go. We have a 4 by 5 1/4 inch piece for the inside. We have two 2.5 by 4 pieces of this pattern of that designer series paper, the Bloom Where You're Planted designer series paper. I then have a 2.5 by 3 3/4 piece of white, a 2 3/4 by 3 piece of cinnamon cider, and then a 3 by, I think I screwed that up, start over. 2.5 by 3 3/4, 2 3/4 by 4, and then a 3 by 4 1/4. Maybe I didn't screw it up. Maybe I just thought I screwed it up in my own brain. Who really knows? And then I have some scraps, a white, gray granite, and then a strip of white for my sentiment piece. So what I'm going to build here for you is an easel card, which is really fun. So we're going to start out by adding our pieces of designer series paper to the front. Grab my seal here. Oops, got to get it started. Sometimes when I leave it off, I sometimes get a little crazy and I don't tear it off the way I should because I just want to use, I want to get the adhesive on there and get it done. And so sometimes I'm a little bit crazy with it and then I don't get a good click off, I guess we should say. All right, now I'm going to do this. Is that right? No. Is that right? No. I think it's these two. Not that they have to be, but I cut it, and so I kind of want the pattern to continue, so I think this is how I want to do it. So we are going to get the first layer up here at the top, and we're just getting it even on all sides. And then this one down here. Okay, there we go. I think I have glue on my hand or on my table. Oh, it's on my hand. Okay, and then these can be glued together. This one I'm not going to glue together just yet because I'm going to do a tiny bit of stamping on it before I glue it together. And here we go. Got those two things together. So then on this one, I'm going to do a tiny bit of stamping, and I brought in my Natural Textures stamp set. So this is kind of a fun, as you can see, it's just a stamp set full of texture, which is always really fun. And so I chose this pattern here. I don't know what you even call this. Is this some kind of linen maybe? I don't even know. All I know is it looks pretty cool on the card. So that's what we're going to use. So I've got some gray granite ink here. And what I'm kind of wanting to do is just kind of create a little bit of a background so that when I put my die cut pieces on there, it's not so boring. And so that's why I'm doing that. I need a piece of paper so I can stamp off. So I'm going to ink this up in my gray granite. I'm going to stamp it off one time. Burlap. Okay, perfect. Deb says this is burlap. We're going to go with that because it actually does look like burlap now that she said that. All right, and I'm going to stamp that just like so. Actually, did I want to do that? I can't remember if I wanted to do it stamp off twice or stamp off once. Well, we'll see when we get the rest of the pieces which one looks better. Okay, so we're going to set that aside. And excuse me. I need to do a little bit of die cutting. Now, if you were actually making this card, I would take this piece right here before I glued it down, and I would die cut the hanging basket from it. So let me pull that out so you can see that you could get that right out of there. And I probably should have, but I already had it cut out. So that's a little paper saving trick. And if you needed to cut some leaves or something out, you could cut those out of the Just Jade layer also. Well, maybe you couldn't, because we're going to, nope, only the cinnamon cider. Scratch what I said, only the cinnamon cider layer. So we have our little basket. I went ahead and die cut one of the little pots, this little guy right here, from some gray granite, and that's going to kind of go behind so that it looks like, you know, the pot is hanging in the hanging planter. And then I already have this done, but I'm going to do it for you anyway, because sometimes people like to see that. So we're going to give the people what they want. So I'm just going to ink that up in Just Jade, and then we would stamp it on a scrap of white. I love the detail, and it almost looks like you'd think, wow, that didn't stamp very good, but that's how it's supposed to look. It's supposed to look a little bit, I don't even know what the word is for that, but that's how it's supposed to look. So that's pretty cool. Then you would die cut this, and we would die cut this, and we would die cut this. And so I'm going to add a little bit of glue to the back of this piece here. And I'm going to glue it to the basket. So I'm going to add my glue just, oh, we got to get the glue coming out first. There we go. Just going to kind of go around the edges here and the crisscross pieces. I'm not doing it at the top, as you'll see, because I need to, I'm leaving that open for just a moment. Okay, so, ooh, this was a scrap. Look at that. There's stamping on the back of it. I am the queen of using scraps, I tell you. Okay. There we go. So we'll get that on there. And then if you have too much of the basket or the pot sticking out, you can cut that off if you want. So now this piece here, I'm going to have it be in, like, hanging in my basket. It's going to be like my plant, but I want it to actually look like a real plant would look. So I'm going to snip apart this little thing right here. So I'm going to gently use my snips, and I'm just going to kind of follow what the natural pattern of the leaf would be. And then I'm going to come back and I'm going to follow this one too. So now I have a little opening there. So what that allows me to do is that's going to allow me to stick these leaves kind of up through the basket like a real plant does. You know, a real plant, that's what they do. And so now I am going to add some adhesive to my planter. There we go. And pull those through again. And then we're just going to stick that down just like that. So there we have our cute little planter. Now we're going to end up sticking it on here, but I don't know if we want it dark or if we want it light. So I'm going to let you guys choose. Okay, so let me know in the comments if you want it dark, this little background image dark, or if you want this little background image light. Okay, and so while you're doing that, I am going to stamp my sentiment in some Evening Evergreen. And my sentiment says, oh, this isn't the right sentiment, that goes to something else. All right, we've got some darks coming in. Oh, we've got a lot of darks. 4 or 5 darks, 6 darks. Looks like dark's the winner, you guys. Dark, 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 dark. Everyone says dark. Okay, perfect. You guys know better than me a lot of the time. So we're going to put it on the dark. There it is. All right. So now I am going to ink up my sentiment that says to a dear friend. And I'm going to stamp this, try to make it straight. Right on this little 1/2-inch strip. Oh, is that straight? I think it is. So you guys might wonder where I get these little 1/2-inch strips. I have a, well, actually I got this cup from Stampin' Up! Many years ago at a Founders Circle event I attended in 2012. They used to do all kinds of fun things like this way back in the day when we would, the top 100 in the company would get to go on these amazing trips, and they would always give us like some little souvenir type thing. So this is where this is from. This has nothing to do with my strips. These are the strips that I get when I cut my cardstock, like to make this inside layer. This inside layer is 5 1/4 by 4. So when you cut an 8 1/2 by 11-inch piece of cardstock to this size, you end up with 1/2-inch strips. And so I just stick them in my little cup over here because I use them a lot for like sentiments just like this. Because they're already cut. I don't have to worry about, you know, trying to find a scrap that's going to work. It's already done. And so I just have that cup just sitting on my desk full of white and vanilla. I don't use vanilla quite as much as I use white, but I do have them in there. And I'm going to snip that off and hopefully I get that straight. Okay. Where did I put my colored pieces of cardstock? Oh, here we go. Okay. So we can do a little finishing here. We're going to add this to our main layers here. And just get that glued down so it's in the right spot-ish. And then my little plant, oh gosh, that thing is just so cute. And then I'm going to put my little sentiment piece like right there. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to bring in my Essentials Baker Twine. Essentials Baker's Twine, I guess is what I'm going to call it. And I'm going to pull out the gray granite and give myself a little snippet. So I already did that. I cut off a little snippet. This is probably, I don't even know, 4 inches long, maybe. And what I want to do with that is I want to like string it through my planter so it appears that it's hanging. And so I'm going to bring the ends together and I'm going to push them through from the back side. Okay. So let's get those. And this is both of the ends. And then I'm going to push them through the loop. There we go. And then we have this little nice little hanging thing here, which is really fun. So I'm going to attach this and do some things with it first. And then I'll bring the string to the back, okay? Oops, I need some mini dimensionals. Hold on. I remember snipping up all of my pieces off of a mini dimensionals like last week maybe. Okay, so now we need to get, so I'm going to put a mini on that leaf and a mini on this leaf here. And then I have my big dimensional right there. So, oh, you guys are still sharing my video. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Okay, so I want this. I'm kind of pushing it over to the right side just a tad. So we're going to set it so that it's about like that. And then my little sentiment strip, I'm going to add some glue right here. And then I'm going to put a dimensional on the other end. So that when I set it on there, I already have, you know, this is already popped up, so I don't need another dimensional on this end. But I did need it on the end that's at the edge. Okay, so where do I want this? I didn't want to cover up my whole planter because it's cute. We'll try this. Like that. So while that is drying, then I can bring my stuff to the back. And now I don't know if I want to kind of split it, you know, a tiny bit and then bring it to the back. I think I will. That doesn't look too terrible. Okay, so, and I'm sure you guys know what's coming. Scotch tape, my best friend for getting strings and ribbons and whatnot to be tight on the back of things. Oh, isn't that cute? I feel like I'm missing something down here. What do we have in here that we could maybe stick down there that wouldn't look weird? Oh, maybe we can put an embellishment. I was going to use some gilded gems. Let's try that. Maybe we could put a gilded gem or two down here. We'll put maybe a big one and a small one. And then maybe a medium-sized one. Maybe up here. Like that. Yeah, that's all right. Okay. So we need to add our inside layers. So I need to move some of these stamps out of the way so I don't make a big mess. Okay. And so some of you might be new to watching me, and when I put the insides of cards in, I only make sure that they line up on 3 sides. I don't care about the score line, the fold line. I don't care about that. I want it to look nice on 3 sides so that when somebody opens my card, it's visually pleasing. So you can see if you look really closely, I don't have nearly the amount of space there that I do down here. But when you open it up, you can't tell because it's all the same color up there. So that is a little pro tip for you guys. So then we're going to add this to the front of the card. And so to start with, I'm going to put some adhesive right up at this fold line. I don't want to go past this fold line here, okay? Because if I go past that, then it's going to be a little bit wonky. And then I'm going to add another little bit of adhesive to the bottom. So I have it right here below the fold line and at the bottom of this. And this I'm going to try to center on the front of the card so that the whole thing is centered. Is that centered? I think so. So that when we open it up, it'll be like this. So, but I need to put something in there to make it stay. So this is where I'm going to bring in my scrap of white again. And my sentiment here. And I'm going to use the Just Jade for the inside sentiment. Oh, and I have somebody joining me saying, hi, I'm sorry I'm late. Oh my gosh, Sandy, you don't ever need to apologize for being late. I'm just glad that you made it. You can always watch the replay too. And, oh, I don't like how I stamped that. That looks terrible. Hold, please, while I find another piece of paper. Okay. I got a little carried away and I smashed it too hard, and so then it looked bad. That is much better. And just so you guys can see the difference, I'll put them both up together. You can see how I smashed the detail of the letters really badly up there. And so this other one looks a lot better. Okay, so now we are going to crop it out with this Everyday Label Punch. There we go. And I'm also going to crop a piece of gray granite with the same punch. I'm going to close that so I don't make a mess. And then on this one, I'm going to snip this in half because I'm going to make this like a layer. So it's going to almost look like I have another layer for this label here, which I don't, but it's going to kind of look like I do. All right, so let me add some adhesive to both of these pieces. And then we'll bring this little guy in. And what I'm going to do is I just want a little bit of the gray granite to show underneath. So you can see I have a little bit under there, a little bit at the bottom. And then I'm going to flip this around. And we will add this up here. Again, so we just have a little bit showing. There we go. And then that's going to kind of look like I had a layer, like I had 2 punches, when in reality I only had 1. So then we're going to pop this up and we're going to set it like right down here at the bottom. And then when we open up our card, it will stay. I know it's kind of hard to see these when the angle is kind of weird, but then it just kind of sets on a desk as an easel card, which is really fun. And I just really love these plants. I'm so excited that it's going to be my online class in July. Oh, and it'll be ready on I think it's the 23rd, because we decided to come up with a permanent date that our online class is ready. And it's going to be the 4th Friday of every month that we're going to be posting the PDF to our online class on the Stamp Happy Academy website. So this will not be in that class. This is like a freebie for you guys as my faithful Facebook Live watchers. So thank you so much. And I hope you guys like that. I think it's really cute. And then you still have some room to write your message. And yeah, and how did you like my little trick for pulling the pot or pulling the leaves through the macrame? Pretty good, isn't it?